and your front passenger here. But we just have tons of visibility. We have these big windows, and it really does feel like you're driving an aluminum can. What is up, everybody? Today we have a 2014 Smart Car Fortwo, which is the Passion trim we have here today, brought to us by Supreme Rentals in Manchester, New Hampshire. They actually just moved to a new location, which is 501 Elm Street, still in Manchester, just kind of down the street from where they were before. Alright, so before we begin the drive, let's talk some specs. So this Smart Fortwo has a 5-speed automatic here, obviously rear-wheel drive, a curb weight of just above 1,800 pounds, so it's going to be curious to see, if we feel that lightweight. And with that 1,800 pound curb weight, we have this 1-liter 3-cylinder that makes 70 horsepower and 68 pound-feet of torque. So not a lot of power needed to move this type of weight. This is basically, kind of like a motorcycle with 4 wheels. So to start the Smart Fortwo, you actually have your key insert down here where the shift lever is. Kind of an interesting place to put it. Starts right up, hear it purr. So this Smart Fortwo is in this pretty little yellow color. It definitely gets a lot of looks, as I haven't had the car long, but people have stopped in this parking lot and kind of just gave me a weird look for a minute and just said, what the heck is this guy driving? So first thing I wanted to talk about was this transmission. So we have the 5-speed automatic shiftable transmission here. And so basically between gears, you just get maybe like a 1.5 seconds of complete torque loss. It's crazy how long this thing takes to shift. It's quite funny, actually. So putting this automatic transmission into manual mode, as you can see, we're already in 5th gear at 40 miles an hour. And that's just leaving us about just below 2,000 RPM. If you downshift on the lever here, it actually has a pretty quick reaction time. And I mean, I wouldn't really spend a lot of time with my hands, with one hand on the shifter and only one hand on the steering wheel, because this thing honestly does kind of feel like I could lose traction at any moment in these slippery conditions. So as far as tire width, we have 155s here on the front and 175s on the rear. And so that's really just not enough tire, I feel like, even for this tiny little car. As far as interior goes, you get into this Smart Fortwo and you just realize how tiny it is. I mean, you have plenty of legroom, but of course, you're compromising in the sense that you don't have rear seats. So really all the legroom is for you and your front passenger here. But we just have tons of visibility. We have these big windows, and it really does feel like you're driving an aluminum can. Which, it's not bad in the sense that there's not enough sound deadening in here, because there clearly isn't. You can really hear the outside world. However, it really just feels like that because of just the size of this car and the size of modern cars. So I was on the highway on my way to Massabesic Lake here in New Hampshire, and driving by me on both ends, when I had to be in the middle lane to get over to 93, was just these huge SUVs, and you really realize the size of them compared to the size of this car when they're whirring by you at 30 plus miles an hour more than you're going. And of course, as far as top speed on this car, I got about 65. Not that I was trying to push the car, but I was comfortably driving at 65 on the highway, and I really wouldn't go any more than that, at least in these wet road conditions. For how light this car is, you don't really get the best of fuel economy that I thought you would. So it's rated for about 34 city, 38 highway, which I was expecting to get in this thing and see about 50 miles a gallon, but I was proved quite wrong. I guess just this 1-liter 3-cylinder just isn't very fuel efficient, because we do have a very light car here. We don't really have to use a lot of power. The 5-speed automatic, although it's pretty slow at shifting, it does do a pretty good job at keeping you in the low RPMs when you're just kind of cruising around. So regarding living with the smart car, I feel like if you were going to own one of these, you would definitely want one if you live in like a tiny little city where you're just kind of navigating low pace roads. So that's really where this car is going to shine. In the city, if you don't have a big parking spot, if you have to street park, or you just kind of have a tiny little driveway, you're gonna fall in love with this thing pretty quick. It's still a car that can get you to point A to point B. It's fairly fuel efficient, especially even for modern cars, with this one being 10 years old. And of course, it's quirky. It's very quirky. People are gonna see this thing on the street and go, what the heck is this person driving? Especially in this pretty little yellow color. As far as looks for compact vehicles, I'm actually kind of pleasantly surprised with how this thing holds up. So of course, you know, there's not a ton of cars that are this small, but if you compare it to that of like, say, like the Nissan Leaf or the Honda Fit, which actually feel like a lot bigger cars compared to this, I still think this little smart car is a little bit better looking than those. Some people might disagree with me, but I think there's just like an added quirk, an added charm to this smart car that you just don't see with a lot of modern designs. Regarding interior design, we have these little circular vents along with a circular tack for our tachometer and for our time, which is interesting. And of course our speedometer is right here in our little gauge cluster we have, with a tiny little digital screen set below. Alright, so let me give this thing a go doing some shifting here. So I actually feel like if you were to have some less slippery road conditions, you could still have some fun and get some speed in this car. You know, that 70 horsepower with this curb weight of 1,800 pounds, it really does go quite far. This car is by no means quick, but you can scoot up to like 40 miles an hour with no problem. I just think once you get on the highway and you're merging, that's really where you're gonna have a problem. Definitely make sure you have plenty of space behind you to get into that right lane, and I would suggest staying there. If you own one of these smart cars, let me know your experience with highway driving, but mine was quite sketchy. 65 miles an hour, as I said before, is basically the max in which I would want to go in one of these. You have tons of visibility in this car, but it doesn't really feel all that stable at highway speeds. Regarding ride quality, we do have a rather soft suspension setup, as soft as this, you know, smart car might be able to get to, but you still don't really handle bumps all that well, and I would accredit that to the wheelbase of this car. It's quite tiny. But with that being said, I've definitely enjoyed my time checking out this smart Fortwo. It's quite a lovely and charming car. I wouldn't recommend you own one of these if you have a lot of long highway driving to do, but if you live in the city, I would definitely, you know, consider one of these. With that being said, thank you to Supreme Rentals in Manchester, New Hampshire for letting me check out this car. It's been a very interesting experience with this smart Fortwo. Please leave your comments, your questions, and your concerns below. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you all next time on Auto Joe.